I never listen to episodes that I'm on.
Oh, really?
I rarely do. Well, now I rarely do. I used to.
I listen to all of our episodes at least once. I generally listen to our last episode right before we record the next one, just so I can remember what we talked about.
I did at first, and I haven't for a while.
Also, I masturbate to the sound of my own voice, so...
We know that. We can hear you when we're recording. Yeah.
Sean, what's your views on Diana Stanley, Sean?
Hang on.
Oh, God. Look what you did.
Whoops. There's a good cold open.
It felt pretty warm to
I
me.
would say it wasn't cold for everybody.
Mythos Busters, investigating the mystery, monsters, and madness of Arkham Horror, the card game.
Hello and welcome to Mythos Busters. I'm Sean.
Ian.
Nick.
Scott.
God damn it, Nick.
I'm eating.
And we are coming to you, I was about to say live, but that's entirely not true from Arkham Nights 2018.
Live for us.
Or in person.
About 60% live.
But for the first time, we are recording in the same space, which I've been looking forward to for a good long while, because I just love you guys so much.
And not even the same space. Like, we are in Mecca.
Yes,
Like
yes, accurate.
Actual FFG, all together, same room.
Yep, so if you're hearing chit noises in the background, that would be why. So I guess we should just hop right in, guys. Arkham Nights started with a bang on Thursday. They came out with Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, which I'm sure we'll talk about in due time. But for us, we got to hop in and play the Knights Usurper?
Yep.
That was Friday.
Thank you. Yes, on Friday, not Thursday. Preface, I am thoroughly thrashed from Tentacale Time 3. I am here for you guys, but I'm not at 100%.
I don't think like all four of us are total 100% right now.
No.
But
We're collectively barely a person.
I'll say I'm at a solid 20.
not pulling your
Not-
Lola 25%.
No, I'm okay losing that 5 right now.
I still am remarked at like the fact that you were crestfallen that we didn't believe when you said that. It came out so
I
frank.
said it, the conversation just kept rolling, and I'm like, I thought that was hilarious.
Hashtag Nick.
Thank you, Casey, for having my back.
Hashtag Nick things. So Knights Usurper I thought was really cool because Scott, you had a chance to play Eternal Slumber prior to that, yes?
Yeah, 1 week before Arkham Nights, I was able to play it. And then I played it again here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
That was good.
what'd you guys think of Knights Usurper?
Overall, I liked it.
Well, without going too much into spoilers.
That's kind of the thing.
I was
we
like,
will
wait.
dance lightly. We will dance lightly
Yeah.
around spoilers.
But without... I'll just say the way it unfolds was unexpected to me.
Yeah,
and
it had some turns.
I quite enjoyed the unexpected unfolding of it.
It was a trip to sleeve. I enjoyed the sleeving of that scenario a lot. It's like, what the hell is this card?
The way it shifts acts, that I was like, oh, this is cool.
The left turn on that one is
Yeah.
a sharp left turn.
Yeah. I don't think it spoils too much to say. It basically picks up like right where the first one left off. It's just like if
It
was
even shares many of the same encounter cards.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's like if it was like a 2-part movie and it just picks up right where you left off, essentially.
Yeah, it feels like you could just play it as one long scenario.
Well, and actually, I talked to Matt about it, and he said that he wanted to include some sort of additional rules to where you could just take the act and agenda decks and just stack them and just go right from Eternal Slumber into Knights Usurper. He said
sounds terrible.
he didn't actually test it, like it wasn't tested. He doesn't know how well it works or if it would work at all. He's like, if there's like an intrepid player that wants to give it a try and see what they can workshop.
But you should probably replace that Intrepid with another weapon.
Yeah, Intrepid's good, but I don't think it's that good. It's better if we have more weapons in the deck. Scott, I love you.
Tell that story now.
So on Friday.
No, do we have to?
Yeah. So on Friday night, we were playing a 6-player game of Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, which did all of us buy that or no?
I did.
I mean, mine's on the way.
Oh, that's right. You pre-ordered. You did not. So Sean and I got our copies on Friday, and we sat down and played a 6-player game with. I can't remember off the top of my head who all was there, but it was a lot of fun.
No, that was safe to not do that and risk forgetting anyone.
Exactly. And while I'm playing, I was like, "Oh, Scott's going through his Iron Man deck," and Scott had a few drinks, and I was just like, if he's going through his Iron Man decks, I should give him mine so he can look at mine because I wasn't totally confident in my Leo build. So I handed it to him, and then as I'm playing, he kind of like walks over to me and he holds a card in front of me, and it's Intrepid, which I have one of in the deck. He's like, "Do you really think you need this?" And I was like, "You're probably right. I can just lose." He's like, "I like it, but I just don't think it's great." I'm like, "That's fine." He's like, "You have 5 weapons, and you're our killer. I think you can lose Intrepid for a 6th weapon." I'm like, "That's a good point." He's like, "Okay. I just don't think you need it." And I'm like, "Thanks, Scott." That's great. And he's like, "Because I just think you need more weapons." I'm like, "All right, awesome." And then just kind of repeat that with the words just shifted around a few times. And that was my Friday night.
I mean, was it you were forgetting every 5 minutes?
No, I know Nick is a delicate flower, and so I just didn't want to trash his deck in front of everyone else. Like, embarrass him, right? Because look at this guy not building a deck correctly.
Well, and then, like a half hour, 45 minutes later, he comes over to me and he's like, "Is this 30 cards? I don't think your deck is 30 cards." I'm like, "What?" I might grab it, and I just kind of count through them real quick. I'm like, "You're right, it's only 29. I'm like, "What the hell?" So I'm just glancing at the cards in the deck, trying to figure out what is not there. And then I pull out my phone, and I open up Arkham DB, and I'm going through card by card, and then I get down to skills, and I'm like, "You took Intrepid out." And he's like, "Oh." He's like, "That's right, I'm sorry." And he just walks away. But it was just so hilarious because I'd be playing Arkham 3rd Edition and then just Intrepid would just float in from my peripheral vision. And it'd just be like, "I don't think you need this." Like, "Thank you, Scott." Yes.
Thanks, Tips.
I'm never going to be able to play Intrepid without remembering that. And the saga continued, too, because at a certain point, Scott was like, "All right, we'll pick this up later." And then we went back to my place. Scott went back to his hotel. And we voice chatted with Scott, which was an adventure. We've built many decks together, and I think I remarked that it's kind of like you're very solid still, like drunk as hell. You were hitting all your points and making good points generally, but at like 1/5 speed.
Yeah, I was just, the pacing of the conversation was.
I'm trying to drive down the highway in first gear.
You should not have driven in that state.
Where's the steering wheel?
No, so yeah, that was a fun experience.
But ultimately,
you took Intrepid out, though, right?
No, I played it like 3 times in the Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you see that?
But ultimately, I think that ended up being a good conversation because, dude, when we got to Iron Man, like, every one of our decks was on point.
Oh, jeez.
Carcosa had nothing on us, much to our surprise.
And slightly chagrined, but I'm also like, that's our reward for doing as much planning as we did.
Yeah.
Speaking of planning, to tag on to the story, so we got done building Nick's deck, and there was just kind of a silence on the other end of the line. And then Scott goes, "Guys, did we make a mistake going Conviction?" This is literally like 2 a.m.
At the 11th hour.
And Ian, who had been intelligently silent for most of the conversation, I just hear him go, "Huh." He like grabs a notebook and pen and is like, "All right, what do we..."
I started tallying doubt and conviction on one side, and then after we went through that conversation for like an hour or so, 49 minutes.
Yeah,
we're running over everything. We are running over all the things.
Because at this point, like, I had made a Google Doc that no joke, I spent a good 8 to 10 hours going through the campaign. 8 to 10 hours making a document so that, like, these are all our choices. This is what we need to do. Our goals are, like, what resolution we want to achieve and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then, did we make a mistake?
Then just one phantom of concern enters your mind at the 11th hour.
What ended up being hilarious is we were like, all right, so if we go doubt, here's our Hostur, and I can say that now, here's our token. Like we ran through everything, and we actually gamed out. Like, okay, what would this look like if we went doubt now? Like you had notes. We should share a picture of that at some point. And again, there was another silence. We're like, we fucking had it right.
No, it was because then we were trying to figure out, can we go doubt up until Phantom and then pivot and do conviction the rest of the campaign?
Which you can do.
Which you can, because I know Josh's team did that. But that was what we were looking at. Like, can we just do that? And then we were looking through what exactly changes in Phantom, and we're trying to correlate that, and then going through the dream sequence and everything, and then we're just like, yeah, we had it right the first time.
We stick to it. Which I'm glad we did, because that's what we planned all our decks for. I mean, I know I did for sure. So
that would have been a big pivot.
Yeah, just like throw my deck over my shoulder.
I guess I'll play Mark instead of Leo now.
Guess I'm playing Calvin.
So on that count, though, Iron Man, I thought that, as we said, went extremely well.
It went fast, like compared to Dunwich last year.
Last year we were like 10 minutes over our time, like because we had to get to the bar by 10 or whatever, and we actually played till after that, right?
Even 10:30, like it was like almost exactly 12 hours last year.
Yeah, and this year was almost 11 and a half.
Yeah. But it felt like, we took breaks.
We
were like lollygagging a lot.
We took a big break before Dinner Coast.
We did,
because we knew we had time. So.
Yeah.
No, because we gave so just kind of running through, we gave Curtain Call a right humping.
Yeah.
Like that, I was amazed. I suppose I was amazed at how well the whole thing went, but that was the first moment where I was like, did that really just happen?
Yeah, like just at 0 XP.
The emissary showed up and then it immediately got obliterated, and
then we finished the scenario.
And then we finished.
We got all the BP out of the deck. We killed all the locations, and I think we got 1 or 2 delves off.
We ended with 9 XP.
9 XP off of Curtain Call. Yeah, it was.
Let me go back. Let me go back through my posts here. Anyone who's curious at charting the saga, we definitely posted all of this out on our Facebook and Instagram, so you should go check it out there.
Because I think we talked about it in our preparation, but our plan of going buddy system, like Daisy
that worked out really
Leo together, and York and Safina. We started in Curtain Call. And then continued throughout the campaign, and it worked super well.
Yeah. There was a couple times when we split up, like in Palette Mask and that sort of thing, and we kind of changed it around. But overall, it was really...
Or an Oath when you guys were all in the cells and I was over in the kitchen. I was just like...
You're just digging around in the kitchen.
Well, I had to go get the man in the Palette Mask. And we got nine ticks on Chasing the Stranger.
Yes, 9 total, which is awesome.
We got the full goal of not having any pre-existing Doom in Dim Carcosa. Which was to our benefit, but honestly, we didn't need it by the time we got there.
Yeah.
Okay. So
well, even Last King went a lot better than we expected. Like, we kept saying, we'll get Ashley absolutely last if we absolutely need to. And we got all 4 of them except for Jordan because he was the first one to flip.
Yeah.
And, it was still, I think we left maybe 3 clues on the table.
Yeah. Well, because it was another almost pivot at the final hour where we're like, guys, do we, just for time's sake, so we can finish Iron Man, do we just, get 1 or 2 and resign and burn the friggin' house down? Is that what we do? We were seriously considering that for a bit, but with how well Curtain Call went, I'm glad we ended up just kind of making it happen.
Yeah.
I have to point out too that I think so. Sean, you had Daisy with Milan, of course.
That is
7 out of 8 games you had Milan in your opening game.
I mean, no small amount of luck, of course, but being a primarily Mystic player has taught me how to intelligently mulligan.
Yeah.
And I did that. Basically the program was if no Milan, mulligan everything for Milan. And it paid off. It makes a damn difference.
Yeah,
and the one game that I didn't have him at the beginning, I felt hamstrung.
Which scenario was that?
It was Palette Mask.
Oh, that would explain it.
everyone else was on point, so it didn't really make a big difference.
I think there was only one game where I didn't get all 5 events under Safina. It was pretty good odds.
You drew stars a lot.
Yeah. I drew stars a ton, and it wasn't a huge deal, really.
Right.
I did lose Elusive once in Palette, still wasn't a huge deal.
We were able to make it out.
Yeah.
So I guess we can cover each scenario if we want to, but I feel like we just want to talk about a few of the highlights. So
the highlights start, I think, in Echoes of the Past with the clutch passageway to Dynamite. So I'm Leo, and I have Dynamite in hand, and there were 3 cultists in a 3rd floor location, and I'm in the nearest 2nd floor location. So there's I can't get to them, But then I realized, oh wait, I have Mr. Peabody. I can just pass it.
And I'm like, Nick, make it a passageway.
So I make it a passageway, and then I roll my dynamite in and blow them all up. That was so
I just love the idea that
satisfying.
Mr. Peabody like throws a bookshelf aside, cracks open a door, and Leo's just like.
Yeah, and that was, I think, dynamite got. That was the first scenario I used it, and I think I used it. Of the next 6, I probably used it 4 times, which was surprising because I never used dynamite normally.
It was an MVP in the campaign, I have to say.
Dynamite and guard dog both really pulled their fucking weight. Like,
Yeah, guard dog's okay, I guess.
I kept, yeah. Oh my god, I love guard, especially in that scenario, and it's because it lets you keep your tempo going even if you have cultists on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Stonesy the guard dog.
Stonesy.
Oh, it's hilarious to us. You guys just have to go along with it.
Oh man, well, you had to be there, but we had a riff on that had me fucking crying.
For the rest of the fucking night. Every scenario.
And then, so on top of Dynamite, and I think the next best Dynamite play was in Dim Carcosa, where, as you do in Dim Carcosa, things tend to get stacked up in that center location, and as you do, we're kind of avoiding it in the early game. So, just, that cleared, what, 2 of the... What are the littler cultists?
It killed 1 fanatic. No, it killed 2 fanatics and the man in the pallid mask to flip the act. So yeah, that was great. I thought my next best dynamite play would be in Oath, when there was the Beast of Aldebaran down in the patient confinement, along with a cultist and like one of the spawns of Holly or whatever. And it was like, I'll just throw this in there. And
It wasn't, what's his name, David?
Oh, that's who it was. David Chesterfield.
Chesterfield,
yeah.
Daniel.
Renfield.
Daniel
Chesterfield. But yeah, and it was like, all right, everyone get out so I can drop this. Like, I pictured Leo holding the dynamite as, like, Daisy's trying to grab shit and run.
I had to elusive out.
Yeah,
like,
Safina
I
just pops
backstabbed him,
away.
I think, and then elusive out.
Mm-hmm.
And I used Astral Travel. I'm like, nope, get me out.
We just teleported out.
So I took 3 damage from that, but it was fine.
Worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Mystic Dynamite
Ooh.
on
Yeah,
Dim
Storm of
Carcosa.
Spirits.
After your Dynamite, Ian pulls off an amazing double or nothing Storm of Spirits to take out 2 Beasts of Holly
Yeah.
and put 4 damage on Haster,
Yeah.
which I can say now.
Yeah.
That
So,
was great.
Scott, let me ask you a
Ask me a question?
Let me knife you a question.
Yeah.
Let me machete him a question.
Let me guard dog you a question. When I built my deck, you threw a little bit of shade for Premonition in multiplayer. How do you feel now?
100% turnaround. Premonition,
It's great.
yeah. In multiplayer, just for those clutch.
Yes.
Like a double or nothing,
Whenever-
Storm of Spirits.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate combo builder.
Or 2 upgraded Vicious Blows attacking like the big boss or something.
We
like,
had a lot of...
Or like, do you mind if I shoot it while it's engaged with you? I'm like,
used a lot,
did it
yeah.
reach in the bag? Yes, I am. It's okay. You draw that now.
Between us all, we had a lot of hedges on, not just cancels, but also, because for that double or nothing Storm of Spirits play, like, you guys wanted to commit a lot. I was like, don't commit a lot, because you had a time warp in hand. I had 2 time warps and a sure gamble. So I'm like, this literally can't fail. Like, there's no way. I mean, it could, but...
The funny thing is, as you guys were talking about that, I had the possession card in hand that was commit to a test, it automatically fails. And I was like, can I? And I showed it to Matt because he was there and he just chuckled. I'm like, can I get rid of this? And then they time warp and it just goes to discard pile. He's like, no. I'm like, damn it. Like, I just wanted to see the look on their faces after they throw everything and then I fail the test.
Speaking of cannot fail, how many times during scenarios where the cultist was draw another token or whatever?
Oh my god.
How many times did we go cultist into tentacle?
It was skull tentacle for me
Yeah,
for like
skull
3
tentacle.
times in a row.
There's twice in one turn for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I did that same too. Like,
was
Oh my
bonkers.
god.
mine was Oath. I stacked so
Yeah.
many goddamn monsters under that agenda.
The
Yeah,
amount
it
of
was rough.
tentacles we pulled in that campaign
Surprising.
was, yeah,
Staggering.
yeah.
But ultimately, I had a friggin' blast.
Yeah.
with that, like, I enjoyed Iron Man Dunwich, but this year I feel like everything got turned to 11. Like, I was having a ball the whole time.
I felt like Dunwich. It was fun. It felt long. We took way less breaks, and we were still longer. And I don't feel
Also,
like
Essex was a thing.
yeah, that 20-minute game, 4-player.
Set up, tear down.
Yeah.
But like Dunwich felt like we were ahead, but we were constantly fighting for it.
Yeah.
At some point, like halfway through our Carcosa campaign, I'm like, we're steamrolling the shit out of this campaign.
It was
like,
once we finished Unspeakable Oath and we realized that we'd barely taken damage, let alone get defeated.
Like, once everyone relaxed their butt cheeks from Oath, it was like,
Then honestly, Carcosa felt like a party from then on to the end.
Because we finished Oath with how much Doom to spare?
Like 5?
Yeah.
We weren't even close to getting locked up.
Well, okay, and let's talk about that for a minute, because I think some people might listen, and hi Matt, I know you might be thinking this, that we should probably play on hard in that situation, but I reiterate that I'm fine with us kind of trouncing the campaign, because we went farther than, I feel like we went as far as anyone could go to gaming and taking that campaign by the horns, right?
That's true. My only argument for hard is simply because we got to a point with Pallid Mask and Black Star's Rise where it was just kind of like getting boring. Not totally, but it was on the cusp of being a boring experience to where I was like, I kind of wish we were playing something else. You know what I mean?
Well, and to be fair though, like I kind of felt a bit the same.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we were the killers, but we were so good at killing
that we just
like something would show up on the board, and like both of us would just go
light up
ham on it, and then
dogs
like if something were to show up with like 20 health, let's say in the catacombs,
the Spectre, oh my god,
and we kill it in one turn, right? Like it shows up and we're like, screw you, boom. Like of course we're bored, right? Like because we were just so good at, just so set up for our jobs at that point, that it made our jobs quick and easy.
Yeah,
and then we'd just be like, well, like how many clues did you go find?
Oh yeah, I was about to say, like there was a certain point where both of you took full turns to investigate as killers.
Without
unironically, not as a joke.
Yeah.
And, like we got a bunch of clues for
just
it.
Shoveling up clues.
It's like, I have everything out that I need. I have nothing to kill.
Yeah.
I guess I'll look for stuff in the dirt. Like,
pick around in the refuse with your gun looking for something,
That's one of the things we should mention, because in our prep we were saying that I was going to be Flex Clover and Scott as Yorick was going to be Flex Killer. Really, it turned out that Yorick and Leo were just straight killers. And me as Safina and Daisy were like Cloovers, which worked out really well, just having 2 and 2, I think.
Yeah, I think after this I might modify my paradigm. Like, you know, we've always said, like, Clover Killer, Flex is the way to go. But I feel like Clover Killer is actually...
have 2 teams of 2.
It worked really well.
I mean, because it was still a little bit Flex, because I had Storm of Spirits and Backstab.
But I had Mind Over Matter.
But overall, it was like...
I had Scene of the Crime, and look what I found, and I used those. Nunts.
Yeah. I told you didn't need both.
Yeah.
But I even thought about it too. Like I was like, should I have something to help with investigation at least? I was like, no, they got it. And I was still surprised that I shoveled up like 8 clues throughout the campaign.
Yep.
I actually found myself with Safina going way more in solo. I'm usually just consistency 2 of events for her. I ran a lot of 1-ofs because I just wanted the variety of like.
I think you have that. I think you have that freedom in a full player game,
and it worked.
Can we talk a little bit about a card that I think is panned horribly, and I would have agreed until yesterday.
Oh my god! I think I know which one you're talking about.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I think all 3 of us want to take credit for it, but who the hell knows whose idea it actually was?
But
I was the one that was like, "Oh fuck, I'll just put it under stick to the like you." I know one of you guys brought up using it because I was always short on resources, and Sean was always swimming in resources.
That Milan life.
So I was like, "Fine, I'll do 1," and then I'm like, "Wait a minute, I can stack it on stick to the plan, and then just sit on it until you're flowing in cash."
Yeah, there was one game I had 25, Phantom of Truth, because I was running Renfield throughout the whole campaign. I think I got him on the board every game. So I was flush with cash. So I had 25, and I gave Nick 12.
You gave me 12.
Yeah, which is generous.
Very generous.
Every time Nick looked at me with teamwork, I was like looking and like, how generous do I want to be?
When he gave him the 12 resources, all I saw was like 2 pictures of bars in his eyes. Like,
there were so many times where I'd hear you guys talking about like what you have in your hands, and I'd see Nick put his hand on teamwork, and kind of look at me, and I'm like, what do you want? I've got, okay, fine, 9, divide it amongst yourselves.
Yeah, it was literally like you're throwing the scraps out in the street, and Yorick and I are just scrambling to get them. But no, like
more dogs.
We put it in, I think, for Phantom of Truth, was when we started, and we used it every scenario after
Everyone,
that.
yep.
Yeah,
To great effect.
to great effect. Yeah, it allowed me to play my bars occasionally, and allowed me to get allies in play. Because turns out I didn't get my resource engine until like Dim Carcosa. So
Sean, what do you think of teamwork? If you look at it, the click economy of teamwork.
I'm at the point now.
Did you just give a bunch of clicks to Nick?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
He gave me like 9 turns. I'm to the point now where I'm like, if they made a 2 experience teamwork that was fast, I would get it.
Yeah.
4-player game, I'd get it.
It was good.
I mean, it was still worth it for a click. I'm trying to think of other kind of star cards that came out of that. Everything else I felt like was pretty...
The only stuff I remember are just the dumb jokes. The winged one being dragged down by the guard dog, because the winged one deals a guard dog in damage. Deals 3 damage and 1 horror.
Deals a guard dog.
Like he hits for a guard dog.
Yeah.
So I just stand on guard dog.
And so the guard dog basically dragged the winged horror down, and then Yorick really frantically buried them both deep.
In the backyard.
In the same grave.
And then the next turn I play my guard dog. So I was like, hey, I found this really dirty guard dog. And it was Stonesy. Yeah, just that's the kind of stuff I remember, is just the stupid
Oh,
riffs.
speaking of stones, so my entire build
Oh my
with
God.
the guiding stones ended up being just a piece too many. Like, I used it a couple times. No, there was
There was
one...
like 2 scenarios where I actually remember seeing it.
Right. I think over the course of the campaign, I only slurped up like 6 or 7 extra clues off the stones, because by the time I got everything rolling, what ended up being amazing that wasn't I should have bought sooner. I should have bought sooner. I now realize was Deciphered Reality.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I've
man.
always backed up Deciphered Reality. I love it.
Yeah. There was one moment where I was like, oh, that's 9 clues, baby.
The one I was surprised with in my build was, the good surprise was Trench Coat, which I used as a soak.
Yeah.
Because I included it mostly as a soak, and then, because I was pretty much the only evade character I used that. The one I was surprised that I didn't use was Spirit Athame.
Ooh.
I don't know if I ever triggered it throughout the whole campaign.
You had it out once. You had it out once. I remember watching.
And I think
But
I
did you
used
use
it
it?
once, yeah. But it was... I was usually up by +4 for most tests, and I just don't remember ever needing it. Because I also had Skeleton Key, so I would reduce the Shroud to 1, and yeah.
Which Skeleton Key also got that stealth nerf on
Right
on
before-
Thursday, or
Yeah.
stealth correction, I should say.
It
So
was more of a clarification than anything.
it works the way you think it should, where you have to be at the location to pick it back up, which is good. But
Which makes it a card.
yeah, which makes it not literally broken. Speaking of broken, Key of Yeast seems pretty good. York.
Hoster.
Oh my god, yeah, tell that story.
So we're in Dim Carcosa, and I'm
And we've heeded the warning.
Yeah.
So at this point, anyone saying H-Bomb's name gets horror.
So we're like saying Voldemort, Big H, like all this stuff. And I have a Key of Yeast out and like a gun. And I'm trying to fight this guy, and I'm like,
And Key of Yeast is empty.
Key of Yeast is
Key of
empty,
Yeast is
yeah.
fresh, yeah.
And so I'm like looking at my hand. I'm like, I'm only 2 up, which in Dim Carcosa was like my last action. I needed to hit it. I was like, 2 up is not enough, but I don't want to commit like certain cards in my hand. And I kind of just looked at you guys. And I was like, Haster. I put 2 horror on Key of Yeast. I'm like, all right, now I'm 4 up. But then we ended up in Dim Carcosa 3 times, twice by me, once by Nick, accidental Haster mentions, one of which killed my Key of Yeast. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We probably should not have had you read the agendas.
Yeah.
I wish I had that excuse.
we respected that rule.
Yes.
And it tickled me that ended up happening
Yeah.
more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tickled us because we were so far ahead that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
didn't get tickled
yeah.
by something
Fair.
like that.
I healed like 6 horror with Liquid Courage in that game.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had the soak.
Oh yeah, that was a fun little adaptable.
Right at
too.
the end, yeah. Put in 2 Liquid Courages and
I think I only had 2 horror on Yorick at the end of the scenario.
Right.
Like, that's in Carcosa. Like,
I know Leo had 1 at the end as well. For starting with 4, because you had half.
Yeah.
And then I ended with 1. It was, actually I ended with 5, because then I hostered it up right at the end. But
yeah. The amount of times where we were going to resign or something like that, and Nick, like you would like we're like, okay, everyone needs to get out. Yeah, it was just like move, resign or something. Nick would be there, and he'd like, hey, action 1, I draw a card. Action 2, I draw a card. And he has Leo out. And then, action 3, I draw a card. I'm like, just fucking resign.
That was my moment. That was my version of your as Rex last year. Clutch test, pull the Elder Sign. Do I just want to draw 3 cards?
Which is a non-choice, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You always take the 3 cards.
Well, yeah. So, aside from Iron Man, what else have we done this weekend, guys?
Well, then we had Tentacale time.
Oh, yeah.
Right after Iron Man.
Yeah. Well, we started off with, we went through all of Return,
that's
Night
right.
of the Zealots
I wasn't there.
Right.
on Thursday.
Yeah, running our Iron Man decks
Oh, yeah.
to see, just to test them as a group, kind of check them out.
And Return is interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Especially, okay, so that was one where we started it a little bit later in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that you actually intended to finish the thing.
Oh, yes.
Like, we'll just play through the Gathering.
Go through the Gathering and see where we go, and then we did Midnight Mass. I'm like, all right, so we go eat now, and Scott's like, well, devour or what? Like it was a foregone conclusion. And at that point, it was what, like 11?
It was 11,
yeah.
And the center closes at midnight.
Yeah.
So we start playing Devourer, and God, we got to the 11th hour. It was like 11:45, and we had just broken into the ritual site, and things were going kind of poorly, just like in general.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, we were just like, just play,
Yeah.
play. And we managed to cap it off and stop the ritual with 1 doom left, or 1 doom away from advancing it. And
It was 11:52.
Yeah.
I looked at the big blue clock. We had 8 minutes to pack up after. Yeah, just like
That's great.
Yeah.
hair of our chinny
Such
chin
a
chin.
speed round. Yeah.
How funny that Return to the Night of the Zealot gave you guys more trouble than Carcosa gave us. Like, how interesting is that?
Well, it was the first time playing through it, to be fair. We had nothing to metagame.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was such a rush finish. Like it was almost like speed round. Just I do a clue, and
Well, at the end, we were like,
yeah, we all
Like a
passed the
bullshit.
test. Yeah,
We should also say, I mean, it's posted on Facebook and we've talked about it, but we should also say that we finished Carcosa at 51 experience, which was the second highest group total. One team finished at 57. But we also finished with no possessions, which I think is a first for all of us.
yes,
Yeah.
I've never done that before.
Yeah, so that was nice.
I think it was Doma. He ended because he ran Charon's Oboe.
Yes.
Or Sharon's Oboe.
Sharon's Oboe.
And he ended up with like something like he said 68 experience by the end of it.
Yeah, so individually he had the highest.
Yes, like he just his group. I think they got the highest XP, and he had Charon's Oboe. Like it was just
yeah.
But
in retrospect, I could have easily ran it, but I
Yeah.
don't know what I would have spent on.
That's
So
exactly
I literally ran out of
But
stuff
it's
to
super
buy.
Well,
risky though too.
At like 35 experience, you start hitting that point where there's stuff that you can buy, but you don't have card space. What do
Yeah,
you take out to
exactly.
put in this new stuff?
I bought Relic Hunter. like, and if I'd gotten enough XP, I was gonna buy a second one. Like that's at the point where I was like.
As Yorick.
Yeah. Well, Police Badge and Key of Use together. I mean, yeah.
Police Badge is great.
They do things.
At a certain point, just all the extra XP is just everyone has adaptable now. So if you need tech cards,
Yeah,
you have your
yeah.
XP
Yeah.
to swap them in, swap them out.
Yeah.
We never got there because again,
Oh.
we kind of pre-built everything. But
Also, the fact that we on Black Star's Rise, we got a big old goose egg for XP.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
0 XP. I was
Zero.
like, what happened? I mean, we handily beat it.
Yeah.
But
we just didn't prioritize locations and just drilled
Yeah.
down to one
Yeah.
agenda. And
yeah,
Because at that point, we just wanted to get out. We weren't trying to go VP hunting.
yeah. Because going into that scenario, I was like, my deck, I if you gave me 5 XP right now, I'm not sure what I would do with it. Like,
Yeah. But then after that, we went to Tentacale time, where 0 party games were played. It was all just a
Yeah.
social hour, which I think
Yeah.
was very great. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
After playing Carcosa for
11 and a half
12
hours.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. More people this year than last year, so that was nice.
they had a beer that tasted like Nesquik chocolate
Yeah.
milk.
Yeah, and it was only 12% alcohol.
Only 12%. Yeah,
They couldn't get up to 15, I guess.
it was Nesquik wine. Like it was great.
Mistakes were made, though.
As a non-beer drinker, I thought it was actually all right. So.
Yeah, it was a very, very good time. And I'm really happy that we had so many people from the Discord show up. Like, let's talk about just kind of general Iron Man participation. We had 8 teams.
Yep.
Did all 8 fully finish?
I don't know about that.
Well, I know one
group got defeated
in Dim.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, in
Black Stars
Rise.
That was Brandon's group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think there was one team that fell out. Like they just stopped.
Well, we had a partial team, didn't we? We had a team of 2. Was our 8th team, and they were at the table next to us, weren't they?
Yeah.
But they weren't there. I remember looking over during like Pallid Mask, and it was a different group there. It was like a woman and her daughter.
Yeah.
So we must have lost our 8th team at some point.
Yeah.
It's also possible that they were playing 2-player and finished in 6 hours.
No. I mean, yeah, probably.
But didn't they start at like noon or something?
I don't know.
They started
No, they
around
started
the
with
same
because we
time.
handed out our swag.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah. Which I'm happy I had exactly enough cards for. Oh my god, I was so stressed I wouldn't have enough.
Well, we had more teams. We doubled the number of teams from last year, so that's
He's
awesome.
crossing our fingers that we can maybe get it on the schedule next year
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit of fanfare.
Seeing that our Iron Man represented like over 10% of Arkham Nights participants.
Yeah, it was really cool to come out and see everyone wearing those shirts and throwing down curtain call.
And we had a number of people come over, or at least I did, where they say like,
What's
"Hey,
happening?
what's going on?
Yes.
You guys are
Yeah.
all wearing the same shirts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, is this a team thing? Like, how can I get in on this?"
Yeah,
Just explain.
which is cool.
You know,
You're about a week too late.
yeah. But next year,
Yeah. So, and do we want to talk about what some of the things we're planning for Iron Man next year, or do we want to keep it
maybe
under
not.
wraps?
Yeah, I kind of want to keep it a little bit under wraps, but I think we have some really cool ideas now that
Yeah.
we kind of know this is a thing that more people are interested in, and I'm sure we'll have more people playing. Well, maybe it's the Forgotten Age, so we'll see where we're at.
it's musical Iron Man, guys.
It'll be just us for Iron Man next year.
But we've got some really cool ideas to actually kind of make it more of an event rather than a meeting. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll say for the people who are on the fence about doing it next year, like this is my first Iron Man. My appetite for Arkham maybe is also above average, but it's not as wearing as you might think. Like it went super fast, not in terms of time, but my experience of it.
I'll say that, but you didn't play Dunwich last year because that was
Sure.
that hurt. Like that was so
It caused physical hemorrhage.
going into this one, I was more like I am ready for it, and maybe that changed my opinion too of it. But yeah. It's
And Forgotten Age might be a different story too.
Oh, boy.
But
And
still.
we had a long discussion last night after we finished Carcosa, and I'm of the mindset that Forgotten Age won't be as difficult as we are expecting it to be right now. Because we'll have a whole cycle of player cards. And I was just beating Carcosa as handily as we did, just open my eyes to
That's
a year after the campaign's done.
when you really plan and build decks,
Exactly.
and like
And you know
so,
what you're doing.
And granted, Forgotten Age, like we talked about, there's elements of it that are much harder to game
You
than
mean
with
constant
Carcosa.
knockout punches?
Yeah,
we talked about how hard TFA is.
Let's do an episode.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
should
like
do
we
that
should
episode.
bring that to the table.
We
at
can
some
call
point.
it Bitch Fest.
Well,
No.
yeah, because part of the thing is, I think why you're thinking that and why I think I agree with you is because we were worried, at least I was really worried about Unspeakable Oath, and actually more so Dim Carcosa, because my experiences two-handed and solo, like, just rough, like it knocked you out, and we had such little trouble with it. I think it just shows the benefit of like knowing it in advance and planning for it. Even
And
something
just
like
running good
Boundary
decks.
Beyond.
And just well, and having the experience to buy the good cards as opposed to like there are games, 2-player games where you have to wait 2, maybe 3 scenarios before you can pick up, stick to the plan or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that the wall?
I think so.
Anything else you want to cover? I don't think so. I mean, Arkham 3rd Edition was great.
Yeah,
Really
okay, yeah.
enjoyed it.
Let's talk about that. We've actually had people legitimately ask us for our opinions on that, and Scott can go to sleep for a minute.
Just tell them to buy it.
So I think the short way I'd put it is that it kind of seems like Eldritch Horror and the LCG had a love baby.
There's Mansions of Madness in there too.
Yeah, I'd see that too. No app, which
Yet.
I guess is kind of, well.
Hashtag no app yet.
I thought it was pretty clean. I feel like the kind of story tableau part or whatever that's called.
The codex.
The codex. A little fiddly. But
I wasn't dealing with it. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Only one person needs to know what they're doing there and just properly communicate to everyone else. So I feel like it's forgivable fiddliness.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of what to give the rundown, like it feels a lot like Eldritch Horror in that you just got your character with static stats, your starting abilities. You start with certain items in play. It's very much, I guess, second edition Arkham Horror in that regard too. I played Agnes, and she was fun.
I played. Oh God, who did I? Oh, Jenny, of course.
Yeah.
You had to think about it.
I know.
Was that a fake
that
out?
just shows the state I'm in now. I think one of the things they quote unquote fixed from Eldritch is making sure players always have something to do. I think out of all of them, Arkham and Eldritch and even Mansions, this is the one that players have the most control over.
Well, that's because it doesn't take you 3 turns to cross the board,
Well,
like in
there's that.
Eldritch.
Well, because a lot of times you're dependent in Eldritch on getting the right encounter, so a lot of times you're just set, I can't move, I'm just going to stay here and do whatever.
Counter farm.
But in this one, you're always moving to ward, which is testing to remove a doom, or fighting enemies, or you basically, or you can focus. There's always something to do.
And I played Tommy, and Tommy, like, it might have just been because we were playing Azathoth, or maybe it was because I took the motorcycle and had super high mobility, but I never had a chance to use Tommy's ability because I was never at the same location as a monster and another investigator. And his is all about taking the monsters off of the allies. So, but otherwise, I mean, really fun. I loved having the motorcycle. I loved zooming across the map. Oh, it was really great.
I actually want to go back to something you said, that investigators always have something to do, but I also found it a little weird that you kind of don't have agency in some ways that I was used to for regular Arkham, and maybe, again, this was...
Like for what?
Specifically for, like, buying items. Like, you had to have a specific... You had to have an encounter to go buy items. And again, this was our first time playing it. Chances are we got some rules wrong. I might have to redact that later, but... I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That
I don't remember, was there a store space?
There's a couple of them. There was the general store for sure.
So probably if you go there, I bet all the encounters let you buy it.
I might have missed out on that.
Yeah, and a lot of ours, like, we ended up getting items simply because... But there were more encounters throughout the map that were like, choose a curio item, and then you get to just pick one for free.
But it's interesting you can't do an Eldritch, like, just test
just
it.
add a certain,
Which I guess thematically in Eldritch more abstract. You're in a whole city space.
Right.
Versus a space in Arkham. Like, I'm buying an item at,
like it's easy
the diner or something. Maybe doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was a lot of fun. And I again, 2 of us bought it. Ian has it pre-ordered. And I think we're all looking forward to playing it again, so for sure.
Yeah, and it was cool kind of to see what they learned from the LCG. Like, enemies kind of felt similar.
Yeah, there's engaging. Engaging is a thing. Exhaust and ready is a thing, which in Arkham 2nd Edition wasn't. I don't know if Eldritch had exhausting enemies.
No.
Yeah.
No, it was just...
And there was no engaging. It was just at your territory or whatever.
Yep.
So...
And Umordoth is the ancient one?
Umordoth.
And they have some of the characters from it. It's basically like a retread of Midnight Mass, or a retelling, I guess.
Actually, Matt said that it's basically Night of the Zealot minus the Gathering. So, that's interesting.
Which, I appreciated. I saw Lita in the little allies deck, so that was cool.
Lita's in there. All of the worshippers of Umordoth are named cultists, whether from Return to Night of the Zealot or actual Night of the Zealot. So Masked Hunter's in there, and Peter Warren is in there, Billy Cooper, so that's really cool.
Wolfman Drew?
Yeah.
God, I hate him.
Right?
I think the one thing I'll say is that I like it personally, and I think it's very much a modern board game design of, like, not area control, but you're very much moving around the board, controlling what's popping up.
Yeah.
And so I think for the players who really like the random chaotic madness of 2nd Edition Arkham, and even Eldritch, I think it misses some of that, at least so far. But for me personally, that's not like a detriment to it.
Right. The only thing I miss from 2nd Edition of Arkham is having the whole city out at once, simply because I like that scope. But at the same time, the modular board is really cool. It changes with each great old one that you're going up against. And it has a bit of a pandemic feel to it,
Yeah.
where you're drawing cards and those are adding doom, and then occasionally you have to shuffle the discard pile, and those become your threat areas again.
And then Doom will splash.
Yeah, doom will splash, and anomalies will trigger. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good, really clean game. Cleaner than I think any of the other Arkham games so far.
Yeah, I'll be interested to put it through its paces in the coming days. Well, I'm really interested to see how it plays solo too, because that's something that I end up I don't do it much anymore because I don't have the ambition. But back when before the LCG came out and I wanted to hit a Lovecraft, I would play Eldritch solo, and I don't think I ever actually finished a game solo, just because it takes so damn long.
Arkham 2nd Edition was my first solo game, and I remember that being super hard. But I don't expect I'll play 3rd Edition solo too much, just because the bigger board games I don't like to take the time to set them all up just for me. But it'd be fun to try it.
Yeah, the thing with Eldritch, I played a few times solo, but I felt like I had to play Control 4 Investigators versus 2. It's just so much harder on 2, so I'm curious how this one scales.
Yeah. It seemed like it was pretty clean on its scaling. And
has a chaos bag.
Yeah, and that was the next thing I was going to mention. Instead of a Mythos deck like the other games have had to kind of govern what the encounter deck, it's not the encounter deck, what the board is doing, you pull little encounter icons out of a bag, a la the chaos bag. So that was pretty cool. And I think that keeps it varied but controllable.
You're able to know what to expect, but there's a certain level of variance.
Because when you draw a token, you actually remove it entirely from the bag until you've gone through everything. So you know, like your experience is going to be even overall, as opposed to I drew Doom 3 times in a damn row.
Yeah.
Friggin' tentacle.
Way less swingy than the Eldritch Mythos cards.
Yeah.
And also that you don't have to cover as much space, I think will probably help for scaling, versus Eldritch, like getting from where you are across the world. It can take forever.
What do you think, Scott?
Actually, while you guys were talking, I was just replaying stuff in my head. But when the winged one hit for a guard dog, because of retaliate, because I missed, I was using the automatic level 2. The 45 automatic. I blanks retaliate.
Oh.
My dog should not have died.
Well, we got a cool story out of it.
Yeah. So.
I never upgraded my automatics.
I had nothing else to do.
I went right to bar. That was the only weapon I upgraded.
So he didn't hit for a guard dog.
He did not hit for a guard
dog.
Well,
it hits for a guard dog. Just not in that instant. It's so funny.
Anyway, Arkham 3rd Edition, generally positive. Obviously, I bought it, so that tells you.
Well, and Ian and I knew what to expect.
It's true. I had not tried it before.
Yeah. Comes with a hardcover book if you
pre-ordered, and they had some extra copies at the FFG Center, so Sean and I both got those as well.
Which might be interesting I guess it's too late to get it now, but I know it does have some extra story stuff. I think there's a Calvin story. Someone told me.
Matt said that.
And Daniela, I want to say.
Yep. Yeah, the back, I'd say almost 2/3 of the book is all lore stuff. The rules, it takes the 2 books that come in the game, combines those into about 60 pages of rules, and then there's about 100 pages of lore.
So say the biggest strike against it, though, is that it is bereft of Diana Stanley.
But that's honestly a pretty small strike. I mean, if that's the biggest negative, it's still pretty small.
I'm just glad it doesn't have, like, LCG exclusive promos.
This board game is ruining the card game.
Oddly enough, no one ever talked to me about those at the urinal.
Yeah. It's the best meme. And then also with the Arkham Nights swag, we got Ashcan for Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, which none of us played, but I saw Louis was playing it just now when they were doing it. So I'm interested. You can actually play him like a bard, where he plays his guitar and buffs everyone around him. That's really interesting.
That's cool.
Oh, we should talk about the council cards.
Oh yeah, we
those
should.
are actually interesting.
Yes, they came out.
Sorry, Casey.
There are no council's coffer. You got them with you?
Yeah. A part in the zipping. That's my backpack, I swear.
Thud. I know dendromorphosis was the weakness.
Yes.
Dendromorphosis.
Which was not a word I was aware of prior to that card being a thing.
Arkham is an educational game, parents. There we go. Dendromorphosis.
Did you guys do the... Oh, yeah, we've already talked about this, but it totally did the thing where I didn't see the slot.
No,
and when you read it without the slot, it's like, why is this a weakness? Okay, you take 1 damage and you're done. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dendromorphosis is a weakness, 2 hand slots, put it into your threat area, cannot leave play while no damage on it, free action, take 1 direct damage and deal 1 damage to it to get rid of it. With plants as the flavor text.
Yeah, plants!
Yeah, and if you ignore the fact that it has the double hand slot, it's like, oh,
It's
that's
It's
it.
the
whatever, who
softest
cares,
weakness
yeah.
ever.
And then you
Yeah.
realize it's pretty much a straitjacket.
Yep.
Yes.
That you
in
have
your
to-
deck.
Yeah.
So everyone's favorite treachery can now be included in every game you play. And then Ikiak
Ikiak.
is a Mystic level 2 ally, costs 3 resources. You get +1 will and +1 intellect. You get -1 will and -1 intellect for each weakness beneath Ikiak. And then she has reaction. When an investigator at your location draws a non-signature weakness, exhaust Ikiak, cancel that weakness's effects, and place it beneath Ikiak. When Ikiak leaves play, draw that weakness. So you can blank Dendromorphosis and Overzealous and stuff like that, but you lose out on the will and intellect bonus, which is huge, and then eventually you actually take negative will and intellect.
I actually really like this
I
card.
like that design a lot too. I think she's still undercosted, personally.
Yeah, because you get the passive boost, which does go away if you take a weakness, but,
but
you're not always
honestly,
going to do that.
yeah, you can just never.
But then
do
you also
that.
didn't have to take a weakness. Like,
Sure, but how often have the weaknesses been super detrimental? Like, unless it's
Yeah.
overzealous, you know what I mean?
That's the thing, is like, I think even without the whole weakness thing, if she was 3 cost with those stats, with 2 static stat boosts, I'd play her.
Yes.
And then you've got the cool option.
Hmm. I think she should be a level 3 card for sure.
I like level 2,
don't
but
do
more
that to Daisy.
expensive. Like level 2, 4 cost, maybe.
Daisy doesn't need her.
Well, someone else has Milan.
No.
But yeah, no, I'm very excited to try these out. So for those who maybe don't know or didn't listen to the episode last year where we talked about this, basically how this works is these cards were designed by the Council, a card council at Arkham Nights, where they raffle away the ability to go sit with Matt and come up with these cards. Or Matt and Danny, Danny Schaefer, who has been working on Thrones up to this point. I did not know he had moved to working on Arkham a bit, which is pretty cool. But now these are going to be tested in beta, and I think the idea is eventually it will be released with a normal product. Though we still don't have the ones that were designed last year as a normal product, so I guess I can't confirm that's actually a thing that will happen.
Well, these ones seem a lot closer to being ready.
Yeah.
And need a bit less tweaking.
But yeah, so that was pretty cool, and the art on this is solid as well.
Art's really good. Yeah.
Oh, she's even playing around with plants. That's so funny.
Plants.
Is this one of the only ones that can counter weaknesses? Diana's signature can?
Diana's signature says weakness.
And
Yes.
this? I think that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah, nothing else can counter weakness.
Because even like level 5 ward doesn't. That's still non-weakness.
And this is non-signature weakness, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't.
Diana's signature
You
can't be
can't
canceled
stack
anyway.
Baron Samedi beneath Ikiak.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That would be a bit good.
That would be amazing. I mean, she's already really good. So no, great job, card councils, if any of you are listening.
Yeah. Scott, any opinions?
God, I'm so tired.
I know, me too, dude.
I mean, the only complaint I have about Ikiak is she's Mystic. Because Mystic sucks.
Yeah.
But no, it seems good. Yeah, I'm not sure on the cost to benefit ratio on her.
I just look at Beat Cop level 2 costs 4, has the same stats, and gives you a permanent 1 bonus with an optional ability.
Yeah.
She gives you a permanent 2 with arguably a better optional ability.
Yeah.
Because this could block more, or this could take care of more than 1 damage. You know.
Depending on what weakness you pull for your deck, if you're running a campaign, I could definitely see her in solo being amazing, right? Because you know there's only 1 weakness you're going to have to cancel, and it's a bonus until you have to cancel it.
So Ikiak late campaign when you're at Bell Tolls.
Ooh,
Just
yeah,
eat
Doom.
up Bell Tolls.
Yeah.
Just
Worth it.
not even Doomed and whatever the middle one is. Just that last one. Like just take her at the very end of the campaign and don't worry about Bell Tolls at all.
Well, I still worry a little bit. A little bit of fear is healthy.
I suppose, yeah, because when she leaves play, you have to draw it anyway.
Or if you draw bell tolls before you draw her.
Or that, yeah. Hard mulligan for
Get
Kia.
wrecked.
All right. Yeah. What else did we? I'm trying to think. What else we wanted to cover?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, after that, we come to this morning where you were up. We dropped you off at the hotel almost 3 o'clock, and I think you went to sleep pretty much right away.
Yep.
And Sean and Ian and I went back to Sean's place, and we commenced talking until 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And Sean didn't get any less drunk. Oh God, it's
Right,
been
no,
a long time since I was this hungover,
I
guys.
kept watching the drink slowly go down, and I'm like, well, once that hits the bottom, then I know we're going to sleep. Still there, so I guess we'll keep the conversation going.
Yeah. Well, and then we got on Last Jedi again.
Yeah, fuck off. Like, God damn it.
That's a great movie. What?
No.
No, let's discuss it. No.
No more.
On that note. No, I think that pretty much covers Arkham Nights. I mean, this one last year was great. This year was even better. I'm looking forward to 2019. I am looking forward to Iron Man of the Forgotten Age.
Yeah, me too.
Regardless of it being Forgotten Age.
Yeah, 100%.
And Matt legit asked me if we were going to skip it next year, and I was like, I don't think we are.
No,
I'm like,
I think
we have to do all of them.
Yeah.
This is my first Arkham Nights. I've been only Gen Con before, and they have their own charms, but Arkham Nights speaks to my soul, I think, of just sitting down and pounding out Arkham for like 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Without huge crowds. It's pretty amazing.
And you get to come to beautiful, scenic Roseville, Minnesota.
A little cold for this Californian.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's like Canadian summer here.
No, we went swimming on the way here. That's
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
I know, Scott's been in shorts and t-shirt the whole time, and I'm like all shivering the whole time.
Wearing a polyester hoodie. A beautiful polyester hoodie, mind you.
It's
Tentacles.
really grown on me over the course of the weekend, actually.
It has literally grown on
It
me
has,
over the
yeah.
weekend.
It's grafted to my skin. Okay, cool. Well, I'm really glad we got to actually sit and all record in the same room, so we're going to have to make this an annual thing if we're all able to continue to make Arkham Nights. So, to you, dear listener, I would say, if Arkham Nights is something that interests you, and kind of our antics, particularly Iron Man, is something that interests you, stay tuned. We're definitely going to be doing more next year, and we're going to do a better job talking about it. Because I feel like we kind of got busy with kind of a Patreon and all of the kind of business work that was required of that right around the time that normally we would have been hyping and planning and actually making a Facebook event for our 10 Ale time and that sort of thing. So we'll be a little bit more on point next year in that regard. So, guys, swing around the table and just final thoughts for Arkham Nights.
I liked it. Would do it again. 10 out of 10. Would Arkham Nights again?
Yeah.
5 out of 7 would Arkham again.
I would like to would Arkham again.
5 out of 7.
5. Jesus. No, it's great. Like Sean already touched on, Gen Con is awesome because it's like that's when you get to feel like you're in the community, like the gaming community as a whole. Like you get to feel part of this larger world of all people with shared interests. And Arkham Nights is great because it's the hyper-specific, just drill down to a single focus. And that for us is obviously the card game.
And we've made so many legit friends as a result of coming here. Like,
exactly.
now is this our 4th year?
This is our 3rd.
This is our 3rd? Yeah, I mean, going back to the first year that the game released, just meeting people, the Discord crew is here. I've met several new people that I hadn't had a chance to meet before. It's just a really, really great time.
Yeah, I'll say for my final thought, totally worth it. Like I said, speaks to my soul. What was I going to say? I lost my freaking thought now.
No, sorry. Did you get hit for a guard
It was
dog?
more of the tiredness. That's what I remembered. Playing this much 4-player, which I usually don't get to do.
Yeah.
It changed my evaluation of quite a few cards and just how I think about the game. So, yeah, super good experience.
Excellent. Well, I think that wraps it up for this little recording. We'll hit you guys next time on Mythos Busters?
Mythos Busters.
I think it's Mythos Busters.
Okay, Mythos Busters. Okay.
Yeah.
See you next year.
Dun, 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 dun.
Mythos Busters.
Investigating the monsters and madness.